another busy week this week with 1,500 companies expected to report earnings. And what should you be watching? That's a lot of companies. It's been a great earnings season so far, although some of the guidance hasn't been quite so great. What's going to happen with the travel stocks? They've been soaring, but now we have another outbreak and it's hitting globally. Will it hit travel? Let's dive right in and see what travel stocks you should be watching this week. So the first stock out of the gate is Marriott. And as you can see, it's put together 3 big beats in a row now after it got its act together right when the pandemic hit. So these 2 big red arrows are, the difficulties right when the pandemic hit, everything was shut down. But we've had the reopening, and surprisingly, people are willing to go back to the hotels again, even without the business travel happening. Everyone was renting Airbnbs and Verbos originally, but now they're switching back to the hotels. So this is a good sign for the hotel chains, and all of their numbers have been rising quarter after quarter. But you can see the shares weakening a bit here into the number, because how much more is left in the tank without the business traveler? We don't know, but this is something to watch with all the hotel companies reporting this week. Then we're going to switch it over to another hotel chain, Hyatt, but it's got a little bit different earnings surprise history here. It's actually done the 4 misses in a row and hasn't had those 2 big beats the last 2 quarters, even with the rebound. Nevertheless, the shares have tried to regain their 2020 highs there, didn't quite make it, and now these 2 have weakened a bit because the business traveler is just not traveling. But this latest outbreak should just be a temporary setback for the hotels, and we should continue to see the reopening happening into the later half of the year. Another thing to watch with the hotel chains is what they're doing on new hotel construction. A lot of the hotel chains are taking this time to actually add to their portfolios. Some are adding all-inclusives. They're just buying out other chains and adding those. Others are actually building new. So that's another key area to watch. Then we're going to switch over to the online booking companies. And this one is Booking Holdings, formerly known as Priceline. Now, I own this in my own personal portfolio and have owned it for a couple of years. And as you can see, they have done 2 big beats these last 2 quarters after a rocky time of it, like all travel companies had in 2020. But these shares too have come down off the highs, as everybody thinks that the sugar high of the reopen is done, and now we're going to get to the more difficult part of actually having sustainable trends in travel again. And again, we need that business traveler to return. So what's going to happen with Booking? They're big internationally, not just in the US. So look for a lot of color on what's happening in Asia. A lot of lockdowns in Asia right now and restrictions returning due to the coronavirus outbreak there. And what's happening in Europe, where they have begun the reopen again. So that should be helping a lot of bookings business there, but a lot going on with these online travel companies right now. Then we're going to see from the cruise ships this week, Royal Caribbean is the one I chose. RCL is the ticker. 2 beats the last 2 quarters. But as we know, they're certainly not back to full throttle here yet, and not with this yet another outbreak happening globally on the coronavirus. So a little bit more time needs to happen for the cruise companies. You can see it's been slow gainer, but recently we've seen the same weakness we've seen in the other travel stocks. So as soon as that Delta variant really started spreading globally, a lot of these travel stocks started weakening. Could be a buying opportunity with some of them. And I know those Robinhood traders are going to be all over Royal Caribbean, because that's what they've done throughout the pandemic. Then we're going to see another online travel giant, Expedia, ticker EXPE. It too is busted out to new 5-year highs. It is coming off that, what looks like a meet there last quarter, but the shares too weakening a bit. And again, so investors interested in some of these travel stocks, now may be the time to get in on a bit of a weakness here, or if we see further weakness, even cheaper, with some of these because this latest outbreak should just be a temporary setback for these companies as the reopen will continue to play out as the vaccines, are allocated globally. We should see further reopening by next spring and the hot spring-summer period of next year, 2022. But these are all things to be watching with all these stocks this week. So the travel stocks have been kind of no-brainers over the last year as everybody's piled into them when they were at those new lows in 2020 and they had nowhere to go but up. But now that they've rallied and some have retaken their recent highs of the last 5 years, now some more questions are coming in and we're going to see the good companies kind of separate from the bad. And we will most likely see this kind of temporary setback here. How will the stocks react? We've seen a lot of weakness already. So, those of you interested in this sector might start keeping them on your watch list and keeping some price targets on hand for some of these if the weakness continues here in the end of the summer into the fall. So keep that in mind while you're watching all these travel companies, because there's other ones also going to report this week, along with hundreds of other stocks. So be sure to follow all of our earnings information and videos this week, because I'm going to be covering all the action outside of the travel stocks with more travel stocks, just basically everything going on. So be sure to get us somewhere. We're on Twitter. You can get us on Zacks.com, of course, all of our videos there. But you can also get us on our YouTube channel at Zacks.com/YouTube. But I'll be back again with some more earnings charts.